Hello and welcome back to a TBR video. We're finally jumping into our TBR for May. You may have figured out by my lack of vlogs this month, I had a bit of a difficult reading month. In April, I did read books and I did read some books that I wanted to. I did not get through all 7 that I wanted to, however. When I'm filming this, I still have like 2 days left in the month, but I'm not gonna finish. I won't even be able to start all of the books that I wanted to, which is unfortunate, but I did read almost exclusively library books throughout the month of April, which I'm very happy with. And I will continue to check out library books and hopefully will read them more often than I have been in the past. That is a me thing, but as you can see, I also buy books that I don't read, so that seems to be like a pretty consistent thing. But so I'm going to be going back to the normal dice roll that I do for the monthly TBRs that I have. So basically for my TBR game, I have a 20-sided die, a large 20-sided die that we got for our wedding. We used like a couple times there, and now I would like to continue using it because it's awesome. It makes me happy to roll it. So I assigned each shelf on my bookshelves in this library a number, and that number corresponds to a number on the dice. So I will roll the dice 6 times each month, 7 times if I don't finish my TBR from the month before. And whatever number that is, I pick a book from that shelf. This is my attempt at trying to get through my books in a more of a way that I want to, where I'm still picking the books, but I am reading books that I might not have chosen otherwise. So we're gonna jump in and do this month's rolls. I will be doing 7 rolls, like I said, and let's jump into it. Roll number 1, I got a 9. Now 9 is one of my fantasy bookshelves, and actually, surprisingly enough, I've read several books on this shelf, which is very exciting for me. I'm slowly seeing progress in actually reading the books that I own. But, so for a 9, the first book that I am picking is going to be The Bone Shifts by R.J. Barker. I have recently picked up another R.J. Barker book, but this is the one that I've had for the longest. I've had this one for quite a while. This is a high fantasy book, the start of a new series, the Tide Child trilogy, and I'm just going to read the back for you guys. 2 nations at war, a prize beyond compare. For generations, the fleets of the 100 Isles have built their ships from the bones of ancient dragons to fight an endless war. The dragons disappeared, but the battles for supremacy persisted. Now the first dragon in centuries has been spotted in far-off waters, and both sides see a chance to shift the balance of power in their favor, because whoever catches it will win not only glory, but the war. So it's not very descriptive. I don't know any of the characters, nothing like that, but it sounds really interesting. I've heard of the concept of bones being made out of ships being made out of dragon bones. I think I'm probably from this book, but I think it is super fascinating, and I can't wait to see what this book's about. It is a bit of a longer book, but it's also published by Orbit, which usually is a good bet for me. I'm a big fan of the books that Orbit publishes. This looks like it's about 464 pages. This is a completed trilogy. I only have the first book. We'll see how I like it. So there we go. Book number 1. All right, roll number 2, I got a nat 20. So for those of you who don't know, which is fine, I kind of just started announcing this, I do have a punishment for rolling a nat 1, and I get a plus for rolling a nat 20. So while I do have 20 shelves, if I roll a nat 20, I am allowing myself to pick a book off of that shelf if I want to. The main reason being, I don't have enough shelves for all of the books that I have, and I have books on other shelves in other rooms and such. And this will probably change as time goes on, but I did end up picking a book off of that shelf for my nat 20. I ended up picking up The Wolf of Oren Yarrow. This is the first book again in the Chronicles of the Wolf Queen. or The Chronicles of the Bitch Queen is what it ends up being called as well. So it depends on which version you're looking at. So this cover is stunning. I love it so much. This is by K.S. Villoso. I say Villoso because that's my Spanish pronunciation of it, but I honestly don't know if the author is Spanish or not. So I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. This again is the beginning of, I think it's a completed trilogy because it's got The Wolf of Orignaro, then we've got The Ikasar Falcon and The Dragon of Jinseiying. I can barely read that because I'm blind. So I'm again gonna read the back of this one. I have had this book on my shelf for a very long time, so I do want to get to it and finally read it. They called me the Bitch Queen, the She-Wolf, because I murdered a man and exiled my king the night before they crowned me. Born under the crumbling towers of her kingdom, Queen Talion was the shining jewel and legacy of the bloody War of the Wolves. It nearly tore her nation apart. But her arranged marriage to the son of a rival clan heralds peace. However, he suddenly disappears before their reign can begin, and the kingdom is fractured beyond repair. Years later, he sends a mysterious invitation to meet. Talion journeys across the sea in hopes of reconciling their past. An assassination attempt quickly dashes those dreams. Stranded in a land she doesn't know, with no idea whom she can trust, Talion will have to embrace her namesake. So, I'm intrigued. I see good things about it. I have heard good things about it. Again, this is the first book in a series that I have not read. I've heard very few things about it, but what I have heard have been good things. So I'm curious to see. I'm very intrigued. And it's got good ratings, so here we go. Again, another Chonky book that I'm giving myself. It's another one that's over 400 pages. So, we'll see. On to roll number 3. Roll number 3, ironically enough, was a 3. So that is not in the fantasy section. That is over here. That is on my contemporary shelf, essentially, except for this bottom shelf is not contemporary. But like everything up is contemporary, horror, thriller, romance, all of that. So this is actually on a contemporary shelf, which I have very few contemporary books. So this shares a shelf. This shelf is a combination of thrillers, mysteries, and contemporary, essentially, and some horrors. And I picked a book that I have been itching to read it, I just haven't picked it up. And that's very different from the other two, but this is going to be The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. I actually recently just picked up another book by Evie Woods. You won't see it, it'll be in my quarterly haul, but I'm very excited about it. And this one I'm very excited about because this is a story that I believe follows all like people who'd be considered like the sidekicks or like the second characters in books. So here we go. On a quiet street in Dublin, a lost bookshop is waiting to be found. For too long, Opaline, Martha, and Henry have been the side characters in their own lives. But when a vanishing bookshop casts its spell, these 3 unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit as extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of their beloved books. By unlocking the secrets of the shelves, they find themselves transported to a world of wonder where nothing is as it seems. I don't think this is fantasy. At most, it might be some magical realism, which I thoroughly enjoy. It's a lot of fun to read those. But I'm excited. I think it'll be a good fun time. I've heard very good things about Evie Woods' writing, so I'm very excited to read this one. Roll number 4. Ironically enough, roll number 4 was a 4. So, for that is 1, 2, 3, that is, it's right over this. It's another romance. It's a romance shelf. I have a lot of romance that I haven't read. So, we're going to jump into some romance, and we've got Finding Mr. Right by Kelly Armstrong. This is a book I've talked about before, and I know people have heard me talk about this one. I'm very excited to read this. So, it is writer related, which is a lot of fun. Daphne McFadden already knows that as a female author, the cards are stacked against her. Now she knows just how much. Because her sudden whim to pose as an outdoorsy hunk of masculinity male author for her new book just resulted in the unthinkable, a bidding war. A huge book deal and the kind of fame every author dreams of. Now she's in big trouble, because she needs to convince the world that Zane Remington actually exists. But how? By hiring an actor, of course. Only Chris Stanton is not an actor. Not officially. He's used to balancing the books, not pretending he wrote one. Still, he's mostly certain he can pose as some overly macho bro author. But when the media descend on Daphne's gorgeous remote home in the Yucatan, it's not enough for Chris to just be the face of Zane Remington. He has to become him. All while hilariously balancing the terrifying dangers of the wilderness, a massive femme fandom, and a serious crush on Daphne. But as the hype circus gets more out of control, it's just a matter of time before someone discovers their little white lie. It's so cute. It sounds very intriguing, and as someone who wants to jump into the writing world, who plans on jumping into the writing world, I'm curious to see what happens. I think this will be a fun time. All right. On to the next roll, number 5. All right, so roll number 5 ended up being for shelf 6, which is this one right here next to me. And it's a romance shelf, go figure. So I have picked a romance that has been recommended to me a lot. And I'm going to jump into Lee Silver with Off to the Races. This is the first book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. I'm pretty sure it's the first book. I didn't actually confirm that. Yes, looks like it is. Looks like it is. I don't know. We'll see. It's chunkier than I thought. All of these books are chunkier than I thought they were. They're all over 400 pages. I didn't expect them all to be this chunky. All right, fair enough. That one's on me. I believe is this one chunky? Is this one over? I have the hiccups. It is. They're all over 400 pages so far. Was Finding Mr. Yeah. Oh, nope. Finding Mr. Right is not over 400 pages. This one is under 400. It's 360. Anyways, this one's over 450. So let's jump in. He's never had a problem keeping things professional with his employees until she waltzed onto his property. Vaughn Harding heads from the city to small-town Ruby Creek, intent on revitalizing his family's ranch and the scandal attached to its name in the wake of his grandfather's unexpected passing. He needs a win. And when he hires Billy Black to train his best but most stubborn racehorse, he hopes she can deliver. Billy is talented, whip-smart, sassy, and so damn tempting. She and Vaughn clash from the moment they meet, but he can't stop thinking about her. And in a small town, on an even smaller farm, it's hard to keep their distance. Even harder to keep their friction from turning into fire. With every smart-mouth comment, every game they play, Vaughn ends up wanting more. Her lips, her trust, her heart. Billy Black is the whole package, and possibly the only one who can save Vaughn's business, and him. Vaughn wants it all, but at what cost? Because for the first time, he doesn't just want to win races. He wants to win the girl. Curious. I have heard very good things about Elsie Silver's writing, but funny thing is I haven't heard a lot about this series, so I'm curious about it. I want to know what it's about, and I'm curious. We'll see. I don't know if he's a cowboy or not. I don't know. I get the feeling he's not, but I don't know. All right, roll number 6. Let's go. And we're back up to shelf number 4 for roll number 6. So, another romance book, which I wasn't planning, but that's okay. My honeymoon's in May, so good time. I'm going to add Whiskey Business by Elliot Fletcher to my TBR for this one because I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. I remember when I got it, it was one that sounded intriguing, and I do honestly really like this cover. I think it is very pretty. As a child, April Sinclair dreamt of escaping her quiet island life to become a world-famous actress. Now fully grown and with her once flourishing career at an all-time low, what better way to figure out where it all went wrong than to go back to the beginning? April has her sights set on a new challenge, and that is saving her family's distillery in the idyllic Scottish Isle of Skye. What she doesn't expect to find is Malcolm Maccabee? Short-tempered and exceedingly attractive, living in the home she has just inherited. He may be a million miles away from the shy teenager she knew growing up, but one thing is for certain, he doesn't want her around anymore. Master Distiller Mal has 3 loves in his life: whiskey, his dog, and silence. There. He has no time for the pampered princess poking her nose around his distillery, even if said princess is the one who got away. More comfortable in the shadows than the spotlight, Mal is content to wait her out. She'll grow bored and run back to her glamorous world of nail salons and takeaway coffee eventually. When sparks begin to fly, he tells himself it doesn't matter, because April Sinclair could never want a man like him. Right? Oh, it sounds cute. I think it'll be fun. There we go. All right, and last roll, let's go. Last roll was a 7. So 7 is this bottom shelf right here, which is romantasy. The one that is more romance than fantasy, but it's still technically fantasy. Although I don't know. This one I don't know if it's technically romantasy or if it's more fantasy. But it is a marriage of convenience. So I'm going to go with probably romantasy. It's an indie book that I picked up at a Polycon last year, not this year because we didn't go this year, but last year, and I'm very excited. It has art that I don't think I can show because she is technically naked, although all the important bits are covered. Anyways, we got Blood and Brujas by Miquela Diornedo. So brujas, for you who don't know, brujas is the Spanish word for witches, so blood and witches. But Blood and Brujas, I just love that. So this is the first book in the series Elements of Eteria, and I think it sounds very interesting. From the moment Dayanara could wield a blade, she's been used as a weapon for Caldera, a kingdom of fierce brujas. Whenever her mother, the all-powerful Acna, points her in the direction to kill, Dayanara follows. After centuries of war against the vampire kingdom at their border, her mother offers their king Dayanara's hand in marriage as a truce. Their agreement is bound by magic, and Dayanara must decide if she wants to kill the king, seduce the king, or embrace the union. Of course, she comes across a few people who further complicate her predicament. I like that sentence. I don't know why, but that's just, I like that sentence. On the bright side, the marriage is set to make her the next Akana, granting her all the power that comes with the role. Depending on how much the goddess Naum gifts her, it could be enough to regain control of her life, or maybe everything will crumble beyond repair. This is the first book in the series, but I think it sounds intriguing. I'm very interested to see how it goes. Alright, and that is my very chonky book-filled TBR for the month of May. I'm very excited. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I have several books on here that I'm excited for. A couple I wasn't expecting. I was honestly just not expecting to read romance. I don't know why. I just wasn't. But I'm excited still for the ones that I have. So I think these will be a lot of fun. We've got The Bone Chips by R.J. Barker, The Wolf of Oren-Yaro by K.S. Villoso, The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods, Finding Mr. Right by Kelly Armstrong, Off to the Races by Elsie Silver, Whiskey Business by Elliot Fletcher, and Blood and Brujas by Miquela Diornedo. So, if you've read any of these, let me know what you think. What order should I read them in? Which ones should I maybe take on my honeymoon? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys here today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really does help me out in the long run. And until next time, put a cat emoji down in the bottom because my cat is sitting in front of me glaring at me because I'm not feeding her, even though it's not dinner time. But you know how cats are. So, put a cat emoji down in the description in honor of Lana. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, keep reading, and keep moving forward.